Hey everybody, it's Mike over here at Growtopia, and we're in a jungle that we haven't been in quite some time. Well, I've been in the jungle, but the camera, not so much. Well, like I said, welcome to the jungle. Now, we are looking at some of our new additions. Let's run down the list. You guys can take a look at what has been growing on in here. Our celery is doing good. Our yellow plum is still jacking the beanstalking it out of here. Basil is still doing good. Now you notice one of the the problems that I'm starting to have in here, if you guys are starting to realize, is that it's not that I'm just getting more plants, which is true. It's just that my plants are so constantly growing, and I currently can't do anything with them. So and it's Sunday and it's water day, and I'm gonna come through and water. This is our zucchini right here. Freaking. These are tomatoes we planted back in January of this year. Look how tall they are. It's crazy. I would have had these in the ground outside already. And I can't. And it's too cold. And I think I'm just going to have to try to do it early. I don't know. Things are getting really, really hairy. Because usually I had the tomatoes in the ground when they were small. And it is... what is it, the second week of April, and this is a disaster in here. Look at all these plants. We got some citronellas that came in the other day. Those are our new additions to in here, is the citronella plants. A pumpkin over there. More stuff back here, the grasses, some other plants. The light on this one here. That's good enough. Our overwintered pepper plants don't seem to be coming back at all, so I don't really care. I'm not growing anything else. I know this kind of seems like a slow, lame video, but I'm seriously not growing anything else for this year. We have enough stuff grown that I don't need to keep growing items. So the only things that we're focusing on is basically what is in the bedroom, because what is in the bedroom, and then what we have in here, and that's it. Now, one of the reasons why everything is so nutty right now, and it looks like I'm basically turning into a Guns N' Roses song, "Welcome to the Jungle." Basically, it's because it's so cold outside that all these plants are used to being in this 60-degree climate that's in this room, and nighttime temperatures outside have been sometimes in the 30s and freezings. It was April 8th the other day, and it was 19 degrees at night. I can't put my tomatoes out there. They'll all be dead. So after spending weeks and months growing them and keeping them healthy and feeding them and watering them and keeping sure they got accurate lighting and everything, just to throw them outside to die is pretty stupid. So if you got to keep them inside for a long period of time, it is what it is. Last year we had a warmer winter, so stuff went outside really quick. This year we seem to actually have a really colder winter, so what happened to the global warming, guys? Ooh. That's what happens when the government keeps cloud seeding, But whatever, the ground's going to be all nice and moist, and all these plants are super ready to go, and I don't have to worry about if they're going to take off or not. And I definitely know I'm getting paid from my customers for these plants because, well, I know they're alive because they're freaking flourishing. So one couple things before we go is peat bags I want to talk about, and look at the blooms that are about to be happening on my hydrangeas, which, who knows, probably in a couple of days, these things are going to pop. And, I made a joke the other day that I'm going to have flowers before they go outside. And I guess the plant heard me because now I see buds on it. And I think it's thinking that, hey, that's a great idea. My banana's still doing good. My lemon and my lime, they got new growth on them. You could tell they're getting ready to go back outside, which they can't. Because it's still too cold, So unfortunately they're still stuck inside with everybody else. Everybody's all in one giant, tight little spot together. Peat pods. One of the negative things around peat pods is that once they dry out, they're very hard to get wet again. They're very hydrophobic. So once they're wet, you kind of have to keep them wet. That's why usually with plants, I don't like to keep the plants in the peat pods for too long. I like to get them into soil like such, because at least with soil, if this dries out, right? You know, this is like got a little bit of dryness to it, but not bad. But if this dries out, it doesn't take much for me just to get it re-wet again. It's very simple and very easy just to get it wet again. When it comes to a peat pod, it could take several waterings to try to get it wet again. And it just never seems to get wet again, and then the seed dries out. And if they're at an early stage, like these ones are, these are like where the crucial point is. So at these stages, when they're really young, okay, you can see they got moved into here and they did better. But when they're really young, like we'll take this one here, this bag is it's still a little moist, but not 100% yet. So it's going to need some water. But when they're very young, they're very, very fragile. Like this is a tiny Tim, a tiny Tim. So this little guy can't handle too much stress. And if he dries out and you can't get too much water, and then I'm trying to put water in it, and the bag's floating like a boat, things would be a little difficult. You could get them wet eventually, but it is a pain in the ass. So I'm just basically saying, don't let your peat bags dry out during the early stages of the plant's life, because it's just not good. It's a pain in the ass to get them wet again. Our beautiful plant is doing good now. Somebody had asked me once before, you know, what's this discoloration on the leaves? Why is some leaves shiny like poison ivy while the other ones look dull? You don't really have a coffee plant. That's a fake plant. You're trying to tell everybody that it's real because you could tell that the leaves are fake, because some of them are dirty and the other ones are clean. And if this was a fake plant, it'd be so much easier to take care of. But no, it's not. Why is it? It's just when it got shipped here, while the different clay that's in the and like I think water is like water. It's just water deposit. It's like clay water deposit. You could sit there and wipe all the leaves off. It doesn't matter. Eventually it's going to grow. The leaves are going to fall. It's a tree. It gets to be like 7 feet tall, some shit like that. So I'm not worried about the size of the leaves, and I don't pay attention to people who, you know, aren't here. So I really don't care. I got to start doing something with these potatoes. They are definitely ready to go and grow them some more. This whole section is all potato seeds too. It's crazy. We call them seeds where the eyes are. It's just, you know, potato spuds. Well, spuds are the small ones. They're eyes. You know, spud is like a little tiny potato. These are potato eyes. It's like creepy looking thing that looks like something out of like a freaking World of Warlocks. I don't know what the heck is actually in World of Warlocks. I'm just thinking of some like futuristic alien shit. And you could see, like, if we zoom in on this one here, and I know it's creepy looking at this very close, but you could see like the little offshoots, the roots and stuff. Pretty cool. Definitely cool looking, gotta say. Definitely cool looking at one of these things up close in person on the phone. But then yet, if I see something move, I might jump and scream and drop the phone, and it turns into a Blair Witch project in here. I'm running. Ah! Oh yeah. I've been doing some cleaning. I gotta water everybody, take all this shit out of the corner. I got some new plants coming in here that are going from one room into here, so that all the plants are basically in one spot for watering purposes and whatnot. Because everybody seems to be doing good. They're having like a party in here. It's Growtopia in here. But yeah, I got plants everywhere. Foxgloves. I got hydrangeas, not hydrangeas, hibiscuses that I'm growing back there, and snapdragons down here, and some miscellaneous other stuff that's over there. I got impatiens growing in the back. Marshmallow over there. A rose mallow close to marshmallow. The comfreys never came up, but whatever. Alright, so before we wrap this video up, I'm going to run down the list of what you can grow for the next... Oh god. Oh, don't worry, I didn't get taken out by a potato. I don't know where to stick my damn phone. Just stay. Okay. freaking warm in here. 65. It's 65 in here. So it's tough to put it outside, anything outside, when it's 65 in here and it's freaking 20 out there. So if anybody's in the middle of, or not in the middle, but in, having that same situation where they're not sure if they want to move them outside or keep them inside, the best rule of thumb, and it's also, everybody asks like, well, what's my last frost date? Well, to find your last frost date, you'd have to go to the Farmer's Almanac. Go to Google and look in the Farmer's Almanac. It'll come up online, and you can type in your zip code. And then when your zip code, it will tell you, what areas in the vicinity of you. So mine is in Zone 7A on Long Island, New York. It's coming up with, like, basically the end of April. We'll see. If you don't want to go off of that, I would say the best thing to do is just wait until you have at least 1 to 2 weeks at night temperatures, at least at 60 degrees, which feels like it's never going to happen when it rains like 8 to 12 hours a day for about 2 weeks now. It's been nonstop raining. And we've had actually like 1 or 2 days where it didn't rain, but then it rained at night. And, so the ground is nice and moist and stuff, and grass is growing, flowers and tulips and daffodils and stuff are popping up. But the other stuff that I have growing, I really don't want to stick it outside yet because, for starters, it's not really warm enough, and we've had so much heavy rain. I know eventually they're going to be outside. I'm going to have to move my children. My children are going to have to get out of the nest and protect them forever in here. Even though I got fans and lights and watering and, sometimes I think I'll get a little too nutty. I'm like, we got to put them outside. We got to stop worrying about them. Eventually they're going to have to go out there. So I'm waiting until temperatures are at least 60 or at least pretty damn close to it, because some of those tomatoes are going to turn into this big yellow plum very shortly. We don't need that. And the greenhouses is another option to put stuff into. I got to get the watering system hooked back up. But I'm trying to do a little less greenhousing and more inside to outside transferring. Just because it's the greenhouses, I want to have them basically specifically going for certain things. Now, I used to have them as a transfer house, but now I'm looking at putting certain plants in there that are going to stay in there, that grow in there, and that's it. So I have a lot of perennial, there's a lot of different perennial plants that I want to put in there, like asparagus, for example. Fill up just a whole bed of asparagus type of thing. So I don't have to be like transferring too much. The more you transfer the plant, the more likely something can get fucked up. But anyway, let's end this video. I'm tired of freaking talking. I gotta water everything and move shit and do shit. But anyway, for the month of April, if you guys are out looking for anything to plant, pumpkins is the #1 thing you could start planting in the month of April is pumpkins. You can plant them in the ground. Soil temp at night must be a minimum of 65 degrees to plant them outside. So if they're in pods, once 4 leaves, you can move outside. So once there are 4 leaves on their stem, if you planted them in on March 1st, you can move them outside. April 1st, in-ground, soil temp, 65 degrees at night. April 1st came around and it was like, 5 degrees. Like, what is this, April Fool's Day? Nuts. Let's see. Bell peppers, eggplants, and jalapenos. What we did off of the first page. Transplant mid-May. You could start your bell peppers, your eggplants, and your jalapenos in April as well. We could also do seeds. Those you could do pods or direct. Usually I do with peppers. I do them in pods and then I move them out. For peas, it's a direct sow. Soak in water for 24 hours. Direct sow 2 to 3 inches apart. Takes 2 weeks to sprout. I did the water. I soaked them in water for 24 hours last year, and I direct sowed them without, and I put them in pods without, and vice versa, and did all different combinations. And what I noticed that soaking them for 24 hours didn't do shit. It actually seemed like it took longer for them to grow. I don't know if it was just those pea seeds that I soaked were bad. Let's see. Carrots, raised beds. Direct sow plant shallow. Place board on top. 2 to 3 sprout. Remove board. 1 sprouted. So I got carrots growing here and there, and I know we in the bedroom. I know we didn't look at them, but they have sprouted. I didn't have a piece of wood, so I actually used a piece of cardboard from a box to just cut it and just keep it like wet and moist, and frickin' sprouted. So we have carrots growing inside the bedroom, which is great. Another one is to plant cucumbers in pods. We also have squash. We could start doing our summer and winter squash. You could also do spinach as well, direct sow in a raised bed. Don't have to be a raised bed, it's just what I've selected. You could also, it's a good month also to start planting your radishes. Radishes, they grow extremely quickly. You got like pink lady slipper. It takes only 30 days from seed to harvest. I did those last year. Those were pretty good. They're tiny little radishes. Also, that's when I learned radishes taste a lot better when you cook them than when you eat them out of the ground. They're extremely bitter and sour, but when you cook them, they're sweet. Go figure. Potatoes, 3 weeks before last frost, cover in 3 inches of soil from eyes or direct root. So I have potato bags, okay? And I have potatoes, right? So not today, but in a few, probably next week, if it's not raining, I got to go to Home Depot and get a bunch of soil. I have to get a bunch of soil, and now I'm going to take all the potatoes, and I'm going to put them in the bags and then stick them outside. Not all of them, but majority of them. Hello. And I got potatoes that are out there as well growing, so we'll take a look at what's inside those potatoes. Basically, once the potatoes are inside the bags, you could just leave them inside the bag all year round and take whatever you want. You don't have to take them out and clean out the bags. I've seen some people, I got poked in the eye by the tomato before, my eye's been watering ever since. Some people will take the potatoes out of the bag at the end of the year, and then they put them in a cellar, or like I have them here, and they take the soil and they dump the soil out. And I'm like, what are you doing? Well, just take whatever you need. See, when you're growing like this for yourself, there's one thing you're going to really learn is that you're not growing for others. You're not growing for massive consumption. You're growing it for when you want it. So if I want to make French fries for dinner, I just go outside and grab some potatoes. If I want to have a baked potato, go outside and grab some potatoes. Not some, not 20, not 30. Go out there. I need two potatoes as close as I can in size to have baked potatoes. Okay, so I go outside, dig through the bags, I find 2 potatoes that are very similar in size. That's all I take. Some people take a bunch of them and they throw them on a plate and they're like, look at my potatoes. I was doing, when it comes to like tomatoes, like I was doing that a lot last year. I was like, look, my dad told me I could never do anything right. Hey, Dad, look. Oh, wait, you're dead. You won't see it. Tomatoes, all those kinds of fruits, tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchinis, peppers, you kind of have to pick them, unfortunately. Those you have to pick. But like potatoes, leave them in the back. Potatoes is the easiest freaking thing to grow, and it's very good. They could also be very dangerous to grow if you're not careful, because if they got the green, they got the poison, and you'll eat it, and then you turn into like Potato Man. How do you think Potato Man happened? He had too many potatoes. And I woke up fucking 20 minutes ago. Next one we could do is onions. Then we could also do lettuce as well. You could direct sow. You could lay the seed, direct sow them, or you can put them in pods. Lettuce is an easy one to do too. You just lay them on top of the soil and just sprinkle a little soil on top. You don't even have to dig a hole. Swiss chard you could do as well. Beets as well. You could direct sow them. You could put them in raised beds. You could put them in pods. They're currently, and they're also one that's shallow. If outside temp is it's like the pods are like 60, 65s, direct sow, shallow, then cover light and soil, da da da. So like, beets from now on, I'm only going to be growing inside the bedroom. So they're not going to be outside anymore, and they're not going to be, because beets, because they take a while to grow as a bottom dweller, they have a tendency to just take up so much room where I could put something else. Even though like they're growing down below and I could put a plant that grows above them, up next to them, they just still take way too long when I could put other stuff around it. But anyway, for our last plant and our final plant for the month of April, what you can what you can start sowing or planting in the month of April is arugula. Anyway, guys, that is it for Mike over here at Growtopia. Hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. I gotta water these plants, sip on my coffee, and wait for my videos to upload to YouTube. I hope everybody has a great one. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family, and get out there and grow. Start growing for yourself. Getting your own food, learning how to have a sustainable future. And the best thing about growing indoors is I can grow year-round. So when it's cold out and I want something, I can do it in here. And for the potatoes, I can even move the bags into here and put them on something. So I can have potatoes growing inside here all year long. I could have them outside where they're growing out in the orchard, which will be full very shortly with all kinds of plants and stuff. And I could also put them into the bedroom next to the beds. Or if I really get crazy, I can start growing potatoes in one of those beds. It'd be a little hard because those beds are only 10 inches, so the potato would be kind of like at the surface. But then I can have potatoes all year round in the bedroom, so who knows what's going to happen. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. Have a wonderful Sunday. Later.